Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Ultimate Network Security Lab project. This is episode 5 of this project. In today's episode, we are going to build the Windows domain controller. So we're going to get started with our infrastructure. Now, if you want to follow along with this project, I suggest you go back to episode 1. Episode 1 is where we talked about the entire design. That's where we looked at the low level and the high level design. Then in episode 2, we got started and built our ISP routers and the 2 external switches. Then in episode 3, we built our pfsense firewall cluster. On episode 4, which was the last episode, we built our 2 core switches and our access layer switches. So it's really good to be back making this video series. I took 4 weeks off because I moved house, and I don't know if you can see, you probably can't, but everything around this part of the room is an absolute mess. I've had to shift everything that way just to continue recording this series, but I'm glad to be back. Now the first thing that we want to build is the domain controller. As I said, if we look back at the design, we can see that we have the DC, we also have the Kali Linux instance, and we're going to install Wazoo, and we also have Zabbix. So these are the 4 servers that we will build as part of this project. Today we're going to focus on the domain controller. Now there is a few other things that we need to do as part of this build. We will have to, well, we're going to configure DHCP and DNS on that domain controller. So I'm going to build this Kali Linux server as well, just so I can test that DHCP works. We will have to go into the core switches and configure IP helper on those VLANs. That way, for VLAN 300, it knows how to get IP addresses, it knows where to go to get them. Again, I'll show you that whenever we do it. And we will also have to go into the firewall because we do have to configure some additional static rights for that VLAN 300 network. Again, we'll go through the whole thing step by step. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to EVNG, and I'm going to drag out the 2 servers that I need. So as you can see, I have everything turned on the way we left it the last time. I'm just going to click up here, like add new node. I'm going to choose Windows server, and I'm probably going to put this as 2 CPU. For some reason Windows servers run really slow on my EVNG. I don't know what it is. Okay, that's it. So just click on save there, and I'm just going to put that into place here, and then I'm going to add this additional node. So this was the Kali Linux, so let's grab that one. I'm going to use Kali and hit save. That's all we need. And we're going to get these connected to the access layer switches. Now we have to shut these down first. So let's just stop them. And I'm going to get these connected. So these are connected to gigabit Ethernet 01. Oh, sorry. Let me do it again. Hit save. And then we'll do this again on this side. This is going to be gigabit Ethernet 01 as well. Okay. Now let's just select them all and get those started. Now that they are started, let's open up the Windows machine. We're going to open that up, and then we will get started building the domain services, and then we'll probably add all of the required roles that we need. While this is building, while this is doing the role install, it takes a bit of time. I'm going to let that run itself in the background. Then I'm going to go to the firewall and configure the static rights. So let me just get logged in. As you can see, this server doesn't have any network connection at the moment. So that's because there's no DHCP on this network. So I just need to go in here. I'm going to give it a static IP. Now, this server is connected to an access port, remember, that was on VLAN 300, so this should work perfectly. So let's go in here. I'm just going to go into properties, and I'm going to change the IP. Well, set the IP. So this is going to be 10.3.1. Let's do 12.0. 10.3.1.254 is the gateway. Now this server is also going to be a DNS server, so this will probably change, but let's just put its own address in here for now, and then we'll go 10. Let's just do Google. We will change the DNS settings after. Okay, close. Click on yes, and as you can see, this is connected. Now let me just test to make sure I have got outbound connection on this server. Okay, that works. Okay, perfect. We've done this before on this channel where we've built domain controller, so let me just show you again. So you need to go into server manager. Because this is a domain controller, we're going to add all of the domain services roles. So click on manage, add roles, and then click on next. It's going to be role based. Okay, click next again. Oh, actually, one thing I didn't do. Before we do that, let's go. We're going to rename the server. I'm just going to call it DC. I'm going to right click, go to properties here, and just change the name of this. Because right now it is set to this, and this does not make any sense. So I'm just going to set it as DC for domain controller and let that restart. Okay, so let's get logged back in. I'm just going to put in this password. We're going to go back into server manager. So just click on manage, then we're going to click on add roles and features. We're going to click on next and next again. And as you can see, the name has been updated, which is perfect. Go next again. And we're going to tick this Active Directory domain services. Tick on that, click add features. We're also going to add DHCP. And we're also going to add DNS. What else do we need? I don't think we need anything else. Okay, just click on next. And click on next again. Next, 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 and install. Now the last time I did this, it took about 30 minutes for mine to run through the install. It's probably because Windows VMs especially run slow in EVE-NG for me. I don't know what it is. While that's doing that, we'll go over to the firewall. We'll make the changes that we need by adding that static route, and then we'll go to the core switches and configure the IP helper command. So I'm going to open up the Kali Linux machine. This is my firewall management machine that I use. So on the firewall, let's just go back to the home page on both. As you can see, I've got both firewalls open. Remember, this one here in the dark background is the primary firewall in the cluster, and this is the secondary firewall in the cluster. Now what we need to do is we need to configure a static route. This is the static route for the 10.3 network. Now if we go back, let's go back to the design. I'll do a quick review. Now VLAN 300 is a VLAN that only exists behind these core switches. So it is configured on the core and below. You have the DC and all these other servers that will be on a 10.3 network. Now what would happen if I have a web server over here in the DMZ, or anything that's connected to a network across these firewalls, even from this Kali management server? Technically, I wouldn't be able to communicate with that server, and that's because the firewall doesn't actually know how to get to that 10.3 network. So that's what we're going to fix. We're going to add a static route on these firewalls just to tell them that, look, if you want to go to the 3 network, you have to send all traffic to 10.2.1.251. That is the core switches. From there, the core switches know exactly what to do to send that traffic to where it should probably go. On the firewall, I'm going to go up here to system and I click on routing. So before we can add a static route, we have to configure a gateway. Now the gateway is just telling the firewalls like where it should send this traffic. So I'm just click on add. Then I'm going to say, okay, this is an interface. This is going to be a LAN interface. The address family is IPv4. The name is going to be int-core. That's fine. And then the gateway is going to be 10.2.1.251. As you can see, I tested this previously. Then we're going to click on save at the bottom. Oh no, I can't do this. I have to remove that dash. Okay, cool. Let's click on save. And then I'm going to go to the static route, and I'm going to add the route I need for this network. So click on add. So we need to enter the destination network. This is the network that we want to reach. So that is the 10.3.1.0, and it's going to be a /24. Then the gateway is going to be this internal core that we just configured, and the description, we're going to call this route to 10.3 networks, and just click on save. Okay, and just click apply. I'm just going to go back to gateway and just double check that, Okay, that's perfect. Now, if your cluster is up and going as it should be, the work should be already done on this side. It should have synced the configuration that we've made. So just click on System and Routing. And as you can see, that has done that. So it has synced that across. The static route should also be there. Okay, perfect. That is the changes that we need on the firewall done. Now let's close this. And I'm going to go back over EVNG and I am going to open up the core switch. I'm going to open these up side by side. And now we are going to configure the IP helper. The IP helper command is a command that will be configured within the VLAN configuration. And it's just you telling that VLAN where it should send DHCP requests. In my case, on your case, I hope, I'm going to send all DHCP requests for VLAN 300 to this Windows server, this domain controller that we're building right now. So we need to go back here and make those configuration changes. Now they are really easy. You just need to log into your core switches, show run and VLAN 300. Let's check the config first. Now we have to go into config T and VLAN 300. I'm going to type in IP space helper. If you hit tab, it should fill in the rest, but it is IP space helper dash address. 10.3.1.12 was the IP of our server. I'm going to hit enter, then I'm going to hit end, and the last thing I'm going to do on the server is type in WR, and that is going to save the config. Don't forget to do that. So let's go back over to core 2. We're going to do the exact same thing there. Then we're just going to go into config mode. I'm going to type in IP space helper address 10.3.1.12 was the IP, and hit enter. And why is it not working? Oh no. It would help if I actually went into the interface. So go into int VLAN 300, then I have to go IP space helper address, and it's going to be 10.3.1.12. actually it is. Quick tip, if you type in WR now to try and save the config, it's not going to work. But if you type in do space WR and hit enter, it does work. The do command just allows you to make lower level commands at a higher level. This is very, very helpful. Okay, let's close this. That is the core switches done. The last thing, well, the last few things you need to do is let's just go back to the domain controller. We'll figure out where it is, what status it's at. Then we'll configure DHCP, DNS, and then hopefully our Linux server should get an IP address from that server. So I am back on the domain controller, and it did take a bit of time. It took about 30 minutes to actually do that install, but we're back here now, and as you can see, there is a few tasks that we need to complete. So this has finished the feature install. The next thing we need to do is promote this server to a domain controller. So we're going to click on that, and we're going to run down through the wizard. Now once you initially click this, it does this scanning thing, so this can take a few minutes as well. So click on add a new forest. Now it's up to you, you can put whatever you want in here. I'm just going to put in I'll put in lab.local. That should be fine. Then I click on next. Now the functional level, because this server is a 2022 server, I believe, you can put this at its highest. There is no other domain controllers on this lab, so okay, so 2016 is the latest one we can add, and okay, that's fine. Yeah, so then go down, just put in a password for the directory services restore mode. This is generally a password you would use if you needed to restore the domain, or you needed to make some changes down the line. I've never actually had to use this in a real scenario. So click on next, and we're going to go next again, and then we're going to go next again. Let that do its thing. Click on next again, and it will do a check, and then there should be one more next, and then we're done. Okay, so check all of these are all the prerequisites. So go down, there's nothing there that's going to cause any problems. Now all I have to do is click install. That's going to go and promote this server to a domain. It's going to build the domain, and once that's done, we will give this server a reboot. Okay, as you can see, this has done now, so it's going to sign me out. So click on close. It should just sign me out automatically. When you're logging in here, as you can see, it's got lab/administrator. So this is me logging into the domain. So put in my password. and it should log in, and then we can start to configure some of the other services like DHCP, DNS. You can configure like additional users and groups and security groups and do a whole bunch of stuff around group policy here if you want. We won't do that as part of this lab project though. We're going to go in here, let's go and open up DHCP because that's the next thing I want to do. I want to get that configured. So DHCP, let's open up that one. And we're also, let's open up DNS as well. Okay, let's go to DHCP. Makes it a bit bigger. So you can see this hasn't been started yet. Right, I'm going to click on this IPv4 under dc.lab.local. Now what we need to do is we need to set up a new scope. This is the range of IP addresses that we're going to give to clients. So right click on that and click on new scope. Click on next. The name is going to be VLAN 300. Oh my god, what's going on? VLAN 300. Click on next. Then we can do 10.3.1. Let's say we'll start the range at 50. I'm going to do 10.3.1.100. The subnet mask is a /24, so we need to change that. Okay, so it's going to start at 50 to 100. So this is the number of addresses in that 10.3.1 range. So whenever a server requests an IP address of this domain controller, you're going to get an IP address that either starts at 50 and it's going to end up at 100. So you can get, there's 50 available addresses, what I mean. So let's click on next. The exclusions, we don't need to do that. Click on next again and click on next, and then click on yes, we want to configure some of these options. So the gateway is going to be 10.3.1.254. This is the gateway out of this network. Click on add and then click on next. Now the DNS we are going to do, so you can see here it's already added itself. Yeah, let's just leave that one for now. Click on next. We're going to skip that one, click on next again, and yes, activate this scope and click on finish. So once you've done that, let's just go over here to server manager and click on some of this. So we're going to click on this complete DHCP configuration. Click next again and then commit and click on close. Okay, so let's go back over to DHCP. We might need to refresh this. There you go. Okay, so that is up and going now. You can see the scope. There's no address leases right now. Reservation, scope options, we configured the router. Okay, DHCP is done. One last thing to do on the server, and that is to go over to DNS. Now I've opened it up here. I'm going to right click on DC. I'm going to go to properties. I'm going to click on forwarders. Now this is where your server will forward DNS requests. If I set my Linux server, if I tell it to use this server for DNS and it asks this server for something that it doesn't know, it's going to then, ask the forwarder. It's going to forward that request to Google. So that's fine. Click OK. That looks good. And that is us done for the domain controller. Now, there's one last thing that we need to do. We need to turn this Linux server. Well, we need to log into this Linux server and hope that we've done a good job, configured everything, and it's got an IP address. So let's just open that. Click continue. We're going to put in the password here. It's root and 200R. Click up here, it says connected. Something's working anyway. So let's click up here and see. So you can see here it has got this 10.3.1.50. So that was the first address that was available in the range of IPs, and it is using this server for DNS. So let's check if we can get out to the internet. So I'm going to ping Google first. Okay, that works perfect. Now let's see if we can ping Google, and that also works. Happy days. Okay, that is the first video as part of the infrastructure build done, and that was pretty simple. Building the Windows domain controller, getting DHCP configured, configuring the static routes, doing the IP helper. So that all worked perfect first time, which is kind of rare. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this lab series. Sorry there was a gap of like 4 weeks from the last video. I just moved house. This place is an absolute state. It's still a mess. But there will be more regular videos coming very, very soon. I am going to record the next 2 videos, so they may already be scheduled by the time you see this. Next week we are probably going to build either Wazoo or Zabbix, one of those. I still haven't decided which one to do first. But again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the series, and I'll see you in the next one.